In all this, Jesus spoke to the crowd in parables. Indeed, he would never speak to them except in parables. This was to fulfill the prophecy, I will speak to them in parables and expound things hidden since the foundation of the world. This comes from today's Gospel for the 16th Sunday of Ordinary Time. Jesus has just told 3 parables to his followers, his wider group of disciples, the people who are following him around and about, in which he compares the kingdom of God to a field of wheat which is swept through with darnel or weeds. So it's the famous wheat and the weeds parable. He then goes on to compare the kingdom of heaven to a mustard seed, which starts out as the smallest seed and grows into the largest shrub, a tree, in which all the birds of the air take their refuge. And then finally, he compares the kingdom of God to the yeast a woman took and mixed in with 3 measures of flour till it was leavened all through. So 3 parables in quick succession, and then Matthew's comment, which I've just read. So why does Jesus teach in parable? What's the point? Why can't he just give us instruction? You know, how often have we said to ourselves when life gets a bit confusing or a bit out of sync, or we're just looking for a bit of clarity, insisting on it maybe, just tell me what to do. Jesus, tell me what to do, and then I know that I'll never go wrong. I'll be righteous. I think that's what his followers are looking for. I think that's what most people who follow any leader figure or religious figure do. They're looking for certainty. I think Jesus teaches in parables because he's saying, you know what? You don't get that in this life. Life is such a great mystery. It's up to you to work out your part in this mystery. So here's a parable. Here's a metaphor. Here's an analogy which you have to take home and work out your part in it, your interpretation. Now you might be saying, well, Father James, straight after Jesus has given these 3 parables, he goes and explains the one parable, the wheat and the weeds, to his disciples. But note this, he's telling the parable to the crowd. The disciples, that close-knit group, those who are in with Jesus, are the ones who ask him to explain it, and so he does. He gives them an interpretation. In other words, that request of the disciple really is another way of saying that these individuals went away and discerned its meaning for themselves with the help of Jesus, with the voice of Christ within their heart. Because ultimately, it's the Christ who is calling to be realized in us. And that means he wants us to go deep down inside with the stories he has given us, with the parables, and through our own discernment, calls us to realize the Christ within us. The person God is calling us to be, the unique manifestation of Christ in the world, the unique manifestation of this irrepeatable act, me, you in the world. But he lays that responsibility not on himself. He's not giving us instruction. He lays that responsibility on you. So go away with these parables. Work out what it means, for example, to imagine the kingdom of heaven as a field with wheat, good, and weeds, bad. How can God allow this? How can he allow it in you? Surely he wants us to be all good. In his interpretation, that seems to be the final outcome. And yet for now, his kingdom consists in people like me and you who are full of goodness, the wheat, and badness, the darnel, the weeds. Work out what that means for yourself. Why is it allowed to exist? Maybe it's because, and I'll leave it there. Go away, work it out for yourselves. It's your parable told by Jesus for you to work out so that you may take responsibility for your own life, for your own faith, and for your relationship with Jesus Christ. See you later.